I'd like you all to welcome the Du-Rites. That's Pablo Martin and Jay Zone, Jay Mumford.
Hey,
How are you guys doing?
doing okay.
Good to hear. How are you, Jay?
Good, man. How are you?
Very good. Very good. Very glad to be meeting you guys today.
Yeah, so the new album's called Plug It In.
Plug
Yes.
it in.
Have you listened? Did you send it to him?
I didn't send it to him yet. No.
All right.
I believe Jay said in the past, you've said to me, Jay, that it's a compilation of stuff that didn't end up on the other album.
No.
Part of
All
it.
new album. It's an all new album.
What happened is, it's by the time we finished with "I Thank You About Time and Pressure," now we were both clearly burned out, right? Because the environment hasn't gotten any better. The turnaround for vinyl is now like 9 months
A year.
for a year. So we were like, you know what? We need to be safe, and we're gonna make a compilation of unreleased stuff that is not on vinyl, B-sides, stuff that is unreleased. We have the title for the compilation, but we needed to fill up songs for the compilation because we only have 6 or 7 tracks. So I said, okay, let's write 4 or 5 songs, and by the time we have the 5, we had a thing. Listen, we have this new sound here. What are we doing here? Well, I feel like we need to write and try to see if at least we can write a whole album. I think it was June. So if we can, let's write everything we can until June. And if we don't have, we just do the compilation album. No big deal. We start writing, and we almost miss the deadline because we fuck up on our interpretation of when the deadline actually was in June. And we did a whole new album, and
we finished the album by April. The album was done in April. We had 12 new tracks in April. If you take the sun off, we have 10 tracks by April. So the album was done in April. Like all new material. We've been planning this bootlegs and B-sides compilation for 4 years now. And every time we come around, we get on a flow. We get going. We both play in other bands, and we both have other jobs. And then sometimes we get ideas from that stuff and then flesh them out. And we came up with between January and April, we wrote the other 9 tracks. An example would be on New Year's Day, I posted a drum clip of me just playing a groove, no fills, no nothing. It was like a 30 seconds of me just playing this up-tempo funk beat. And Adam Deitch from Lettuce and Questlove shared it, and it went totally viral. Like all of a sudden, I got 1,200 followers on New Year's Day, and the video got 100,000, a couple of 100,000 views. Pablo messaged me like, "Hey man, that beat you posted is killer." And I said, "Let's make a Do-Rites song out of it." And then he has a relationship with Money Mark, the keyboard player from the Beastie Boys.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, let's put Mark on it. Because if it's the beat has already been proven to be a winner because it went viral just on an IG clip. I had the mic still in place. Like you said, when you get mics set up, you got to cut now because if you change, you lose it. So as soon as that video went viral, he told me, and I went downstairs the next day and cut just 3 minutes straight of that groove. And then I put a jazz solo at the top in case we needed some kind of change. And then he put the basic Rhodes guitar and bass on it. I added some percussion, and then we had Mark come in and solo, and now we have but I'm saying this started from an Instagram post. Like these things happen. These things happen by accident. Every time I get a new drum kit, I want to try it out. So I record drum tracks with the new drum kit, and then he hears it, and he has an idea, or he has an idea. He got a drum machine, like he got an actual analog drum machine from the 60s or 70s. And he sent me a bunch of demos with that drum machine. And then I started thinking Sly and the Family Stone in Time from the Fresh album, where it's like a rumba pattern, and Andy Newmark is playing counter. And like Miles Davis quotes that as one of his favorite songs. So I was like, we never worked with a drum machine before. So I was like, just him sending me that demo, we came up with the intro called Can I Get Into It, which is just me playing against the drum machine in all the offbeats, like the polyrhythms against the drum machine. And then he's just got, everything is on a synthesizer, and it's got this Fela kind of typical funk, thing that's chugging along.
Nice.
So these things just happen,
And it has no bass.
The bass is all on
I played the bass. Yeah, it sounds really different, this one. Yeah.
It's like
I wasn't excited before. I'm very excited now.
It's a very minimalistic album. This one.
It's not as complex. It's not as complex, but it grooves a lot harder because it's just, I think because we've been playing together so long, and I think because like in the beginning with drums, like I was very into chops. I think most drummers get into chops. And Pablo will tell you, like when we used to do shows, I used to try to do these Buddy Rich, Mitch Mitchell, like really rudimental fills and stuff. And then as I go on, I think that my playing has gotten a hell of a lot simpler, but I'm so focused on groove and swing and where things are falling that the playing got a lot simpler, but I just try to groove as hard as humanly possible. And I think because and then he's a very groovy kind of a bass player. So I think when the rhythm sections are locked up like that, it's powerful enough where you don't need
to make it complicated.
You don't need to add a bunch. There's a song on the album called Asbestos where he sent me just the drum machine. He said he just did like a cheesy drum machine beat, and he just has this guitar riff that's hypnotic. It's just the same thing all the way through. When I sat down with it, I was like, I want to do a beat that's kind of like a gallop. Boom, where it has like really.
Wait, first you turn me down.
Because he had this drum machine, he had these drum programs in there, and I'm like, oh. And then he was like, no, listen, it's a hit, trust me. And I'm like, ah. And the day he sent it to me, I was on eBay bidding on this Gretsch kit, this funky pink old Gretsch kit. And I was like, all right, I'll talk to you later. I'm trying to win this bid. And nobody else bid. I won the bid. And then I get the drums. Gretsch drums have a very particular kind of tuning range and stuff. And I just said, let me pull this thing up he sent me. I'm not really feeling it, but let me try. And I got those Gretsch drums tuned up and mic'd, and I said, let me try that gallop beat I've been working. And then by the time it was done, it was so funky. It's just drums, guitar, and organ. It has nothing else. And the bass is just boom, boom. It's nothing. Boom, boom. And I'm like, how could something that's so simple. But again, I think that we're so comfortable in the way, it's not the notes we're playing, it's how we're playing them. It's like the Steve Jordan ethos. Like he's so simple when he plays, but then nobody can seem to capture the emotion of his playing. Like we can all play a beat Steve Jordan plays, but we can't play it like him. It doesn't feel the same. So I think focusing even harder on groove, and like Pressure was about chop. It was groovy, but it was about chops. This album is just plug it in. That means just let's go. Like we ain't got time to think about how choppy we can get.
Hardest of all, I think.
Yeah,
it's harsh sounding. It's upbeat. It's a tough album. It took me a while because the whole thing was done so quick that when I finished the master, I sent it and I never listened to it again. I'm having trouble remembering what I did or when they were done or which way they were done. But then I put it back and I listened to it and it's, wow, this is probably the best thing we have done so far again. But I remember him calling and saying, look, dude, this album is fantastic. And I said, yeah. I just listened to it for the first time thoroughly the way it needs to be listened. And it's fantastic. It's weird. The whole environment seems to have changed all over again to even more hostile.
Yeah.
We don't know. We were talking about that. We don't know exactly what it is, but it does not feel good, in terms of what's going to happen. We'll see. We'll tell you in a couple of months when it comes up. As part of the legacy, it's still like going up for us.
Yeah, we're real satisfied. I'm real satisfied with it. I'm proud of it. And, we still experimented. We got the vibraphone player from Ben Pirani's band, Trey D'Ambrosia. We had him play vibes. We never had vibes on our record, so we added that. We have Money Mark playing keys. We have Mariana back doing vocals, singing entirely in Italian. Like, again, oh, you guys need a singer. Okay, watch this. We're singing Italian. Because they're thinking, we're finally going to add a Wilson Pickett, James Brown thing. And I'm like, no, we're never going to do that. And we're never going to do horns. We'll do vocals. We're going to do them in this messed up way. We'll do jazz, but we'll do it in a messed up way. So as long as it's grooving, then we can take it and be weird with it and stretch it out. But I think we managed to one-up ourselves again. And it was by accident. Like I said, we didn't know that we was going to be bootlegs and B-sides. And then before it, I think Dubo was the first song we did around Thanksgiving, which is like a Bohannon tribute with the four on the floor. Then we did Plug It in the same session. And then the Instagram thing with the Money Mark thing with that viral drum beat, that happened. Then it was like, okay, he sends me Asbestos. I'm skeptical. I get the new drum set, so that's 4. And then I want to do another one with this drum set. And I got this kalimba that I barely use. So then I do that. That's Tripwire. And then we always wanted to do a song called Baby Mama, and we never got around to it. And then we finally did that. Penny Loafers, which came out today, was kind of a joke. Like, we're going to go for this Reaganomics, like late 70s, early 80s funk sounding baby boomer type of good life funk vibe, and then it comes out funkier than we thought it would, and that came out today. So these things just took on a life of their own, and by the time we got to March, we had an album, and by the time we got to April, it was mixed and mastered, and by the time we got to June, the artwork was finished.
No, wait, but hold on, because we were waiting for Mark's keyboard until the end. We have the whole album done. And then we fuck up the deadline. Remember,
we were able to write a whole new album, and I think that's just. I don't want to introduce any kind of bad energy, but I think when we're under pressure, we're at our best. I think it brings out the best in us when our backs are against the wall. We played a gig maybe a month ago where the headliner got sick and couldn't make it, and the whole crowd was like a rockabilly kind of a crowd, and we were like, "We're gonna have."
Oh yeah, it was. It was
actually chicken wire around the stage like Blues Brothers because they're gonna boo us and then we wound up rocking that goddamn place because it's like, but like when we're faced with pressure, like we got to do this unexpectedly. We got to finish the album. Like we just this is what we do. We're used to it at this point.
Also, I guess when you're putting out a compilation, you're closing again an era.
Yeah.
And with this, we actually managed to extend where we were. We said we are not done yet with this passage. We're still on it, and we're still strong. It sends a complete different message to yourself. You're not closing down shop. You're just in the middle of it. It's a big thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.